Welcome, Wildcat families, to another edition of Cat Chat Live. My name is Nancy Stevens, and I serve as UK's Parent and Family Communications Manager. It is an exciting time of year on the University of Kentucky campus. Spring is here, which brings some warmer weather, some unexpectedly wild weather last week, but flowers are in bloom and campus is looking really pretty. Keeneland Spring Meet has started. Dance Blue just raised a ton of money this past weekend. That was really exciting. And we know our students are counting down. There are just a few weeks left in the spring semester. And we know we have many soon-to-be graduates who are eagerly awaiting commencement, and they have many proud parents and families and friends who are eager to celebrate them as well. So today's topic is UK's upcoming commencement ceremonies. And I'll let our guests introduce themselves in just a moment. But first, a little housekeeping. They have a great presentation with a lot of good information for you all. And we welcome your questions too. So as they're going through their presentations, feel free to drop your comments and questions in in the comments, and we will take all of those at the end of the presentation and make sure that we get all of your questions answered before we leave here today. So don't hesitate to ask those questions. But without further ado, I'll turn things over to our guests and let them introduce themselves and share some great information about the upcoming commencement ceremonies. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Nancy. We're excited to be here and talk a little bit about commencement. And like you said, there's a lot of things to celebrate through this semester. I know it's busy season, but we are so excited for that finish line here. And I know that we are very excited to celebrate all of the graduates. My name is Abby Franklin, and I am Associate Director for the Office of University Events at UK. I also serve as the commencement committee chair, so I oversee a lot of the event planning for the commencement ceremonies. And I also have with me today Tyler Chapman, who is the graduate assistant for the commencement office, and he's taking on a lot of the event planning roles too. So Tyler is a great individual to work with and has a lot of the details and has been doing a great job communicating with your graduates. And all the details are coming together, and we're excited to be here to be able to share some of those with you today. So we'll just jump into it and give you kind of an overview and what we're going to be talking about next.
All right, so we'll just briefly overview what we're going to talk about today so you have an idea of what to expect. As Nancy mentioned, if you have questions along the way, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll try to get to them as we go through the presentation, or we'll get to them at the very end. First, we're going to talk about the schedule of ceremonies. Next, we'll talk about cap and gown for those who still need to order. We have removed the registration piece from this presentation because it has passed, but I'll briefly touch on that. And then we'll talk about day of information, and then finally, frequently asked questions. So we'll move on to the next slide.
So here is an overview of the schedule of ceremonies. So there will be 4 total ceremonies celebrating a number of colleges within each of those ceremonies. So depending on which college your graduate is graduating from is which ceremony they'll be participating in. And I know some graduates are actually receiving dual degrees, so they could be potentially members of 2 different colleges. So it would be their choice to walk with one or the other, depending on what their preference is and what schedule allows. So while the schedule is laid out, we have on Friday, May 3rd at 9 a.m. the first ceremony that'll celebrate College of Arts and Sciences, College of Design, and College of Health Science students, followed by Friday, May 3rd at 2 p.m., the Martin Gatton College of Ag and Food and Environment, the College of Communication and Information, and the College of Education. Friday, May 3rd at 6 p.m. will be the Stanley and Karen Pigman College of Engineering, the College of Fine Arts, the Martin School of Public Policy and Administration, the Patterson School of Diplomacy and International Commerce, and College of Social Work. And then Saturday, May 4th at 9 a.m., we will celebrate Gatton College of Business and Economics, the College of Medicine, the College of Nursing, the College of Pharmacy, and the College of Public Health. We will note here that there are a few colleges that will have their own separate ceremonies if they are profession-based, such as the College of Pharmacy will have a separate ceremony. The College of the Doctorate of Medicine degrees will be awarded at a separate ceremony as well. So if your student is with one of those colleges, just make sure they're working with their college coordinators, making sure that they're receiving those individual ceremony details if they are expected to be part of those ceremonies. That being said, so the order within each ceremony of how graduates will walk has not yet been determined. I know that'll be a question that might come up at a particular time, but we will determine the walking order for each of these colleges later this week and hope to communicate those details out. But it'll be based on registration numbers and kind of, figuring out what that looks like here in the next week or so. Yeah, we'll go to the next slide.
So let's talk about cap and gown really quickly. I have not gotten many questions as of the past week about cap and gown, so I think most folks have figured that out. The deadline to order cap and gown has passed to order it online, so shipping usually takes 4 to 6 weeks. We're past that point now. Commencement is in 3 weeks, I believe. So, but students are not without options. So undergraduate and master's graduates can still purchase their cap and gown in person at the bookstore here on campus. I've been telling folks, just reach out to them and see what options they have. Let's say they're missing or still need to get or want to get another tassel color because they're part of 2 colleges. They're welcome to order sort of a la carte accessories if they would like. So regalia, which is cap and gown, will be sold all throughout the week of commencement, all the way up leading to commencement. So if you have a student who is a procrastinator like me, they might wait till the last minute to go get something. So fear not, in most cases, usually it's okay. If you have a doctoral student, inventory is very limited for those folks. They usually take a little more time to process. That deadline was actually earlier in March. So, but there are still some limited inventory rental options through the bookstore. So your best bet is if you have any regalia needs at all, the bookstore should be your first point of contact. And if you have any questions, you're going to hear me repeat this website a lot, so I recommend write it down. If you have any questions at all regarding cap and gown, what color tassels or hood colors that you need, please visit commencement.uky.edu. We have everything listed there, exactly what they need, all of the accessories, how it should look, what it means, all of that fun stuff. So, and then there's also some FAQs there about cords. We know that some graduates are part of the Lewis Honors College, and they may be wondering where to get their cords for that. They can stop by the bookstore for that stuff too. So again, commencement.uky.edu. There's a section at the top navigation that says cap and gown. You'll click that, has all the information listed there for you. So next we will chat about the day of information, including parking and shuttle services. So there are some parking options here for folks, and we'll actually send this out to your graduates as well. As we get a little bit closer to the date, we want things to be top of mind for them, so we won't send anything out too early. So ask your graduates, but this will be kind of a point for you guys as well. You'll also hear me mention FAQs at the end. This information will be on the FAQ section of commencement.uky.edu as well. So here are your parking options for commencement day. So graduates and their guests can park at the High Street lot across from Rupp Arena at Central Bank Center. If you've been to Rupp Arena before, you're probably familiar with that parking lot on High Street, kind of behind Lex Live, in between High Street and Maxwell Street. And more parallel to Broadway. So that big parking lot is available, and that's where most folks will park. We would, if you're out of town and you're staying in a hotel around, most of those hotels have parking accommodations that you can park in. There's street parking all around the city. Keep in mind that it's going to be a busy day. It's a Friday, and especially if you have an afternoon ceremony, you might encounter rush hour. So just be prepared, be timely. And then our other ask for the parking situation is, we know that guests are going to be coming in and out. You're most likely will have lunch plans or dinner plans. We would ask that you, after the ceremony, relocate your car. Don't leave it there for the rest of the day, because we'll have, on Friday, we'll have ceremonies at 9, 2, and 6. So we want those graduates and their families to have parking as well. So lots of great restaurants around, so you're welcome to drive to those spots and park. We are also going to offer shuttle services that will run continuously throughout the day. You can see here Friday from 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. on Friday. Assuming that we need to go that late, probably we won't. And then on Saturday, you'll see 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. on Saturday. This is going to be the parking structure on Administrative Drive. It's Cornerstone, and they'll take us to Rupp. So you can see in the photo there, that is the Cornerstone Garage, where you are welcome to park. It'll be open for folks, and then they'll just take you right down to Rupp Arena. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out about parking, but this information is on the website, commencement.uky.edu. Feel free to snap a picture of this if it is helpful for you. But again, it'll be on the website as well, and we'll send it out to your graduates here within the coming weeks. So I'll turn it over to Abby next to talk about entrances, and once you get to Rupp Arena, where to go from there.
Yeah, so here are some details about the entrances and where graduates should go versus where guests and families will need to enter as well. So graduates will follow signage and enter through the West High Street entrance. It's the one furthest down towards Manchester Street. There will be signage, but there's a specific entrance that graduates will follow to enter. Guests and their families can also enter on High Street, but it's the main guest entrance for Rupp Arena at Central Bank Center. And there will be signage for graduate or for family and guests to enter as well. They can also come from the pedestrian bridges from the Hyatt or from Main Street. Main Street entrances will be open. So once you get inside the building, there'll be guest services and hospitality kind of ushering you toward that main entrance on the High Street level. If you're parking at the High Street parking lot, the entrances are right across the street from High Street. If you are taking the shuttle from main campus, that shuttle drop-off location will be on the Main Street side, and they'll drop you there, and then you'll just enter and take the escalators up towards that main entrance where you'll go through security and enter into the arena. So we've got some information there. Again, like Tyler's said multiple times, all this information is going to be located on our FAQ page on the website as well, so you'll have access to that at any time.
So let's chat about day of. Once your graduates arrive and what to expect when they get there. So graduates need to come dressed in full regalia an hour before the ceremony time. So if the ceremony starts at 9, they need to be there by 8 o'clock to check in. Their ceremony starts at 2, arrive by 1, ceremony at 6, arrive by 5. Dressed again in full regalia, so they're not shifting and struggling and trying to figure out what to do or losing anything. They have everything that they need on their person. So graduates, like Abby mentioned, will enter on High Street in a clearly marked door. We'll have signs everywhere for parking, for guests and where to go, but specifically at a door on High Street for graduates to check in. They will be ushered or pointed in the direction of Club B, which you may not know where that's at, but your graduates will once they arrive. We'll get them there, and that's where registration will be held. We'll get them checked in. Once the graduates are checked in, we're gonna have them be seated with their colleges on the floor of Rupp Arena. So we'll have them go through the back area, and faculty marshals from each college will be on the floor, making sure that graduates know where to sit. Each ceremony, just for your planning purposes, typically lasts no more than 2.5 hours. As Abby mentioned earlier, we don't quite have the schedule set yet. We want to make sure we get capture all the graduates who are going to be participating, so that we can make sure that everything is set up evenly on each side. And so you can expect about 2.5 hours for your graduates. There will be strobe lighting used at during the fight song, and you'll see kind of in the program when that's going to take place. So if you have folks that are sensitive to strobe lighting, those folks are welcome to remain on the concourse until that piece, or exit the arena until it's over. In terms of, I have many questions about accessibility seating. We're going to have a section staffed with volunteers for guests to use wheelchairs. We will assist, our volunteers will follow family members pushing the wheelchair so we can bring it back for other guests to use, but just for safety reasons, we want your family members to transport other family members. You know what they're comfortable with, how fast they like to go or not fast. So we're going to rely on your family members to make that transition from point A to point B, but our volunteers will be alongside you should you need anything else, and then we'll take the wheelchair back so that other guests can use as transportation. So seating is first come, first serve. All of the ADA accessible seating is around the concourse. You'll see where that's at. And what we do is we would ask that if you have a large party, there will be seats directly in front of the ADA accessible seating. We would ask that maybe 1 or 2 people sit with the family member that needs to sit in that accessible seating, but the rest sit in the front, so we can reserve those other spots for guests who do need those areas. Everything is still really close, so you won't have any issues with losing your family members or anything like that, but that seating is somewhat limited at Rupp Arena, so we want to be sensitive to the needs of those who require that seating. And I believe the whole arena will be open, the upper level and the lower level, so whatever your preference is. Now, you may be asking, what if I have a need for ASL interpreter, American Sign Language interpreter, and the visibility there? We will always provide an ASL interpreter that will be shown on every screen. There's 4 screens around the arena in each of the corners, and then on the Jumbotron as well. So every view that you're going to get will have the ASL interpreter on the screen until they get to the point of reading the students' names. And the screens are huge and very visible, so you won't have to worry about being able to see the ASL interpreter or sit right next to them, because they'll be available on the screen for you. Now, once your graduates cross the stage, they will not return to their seats. So what will happen is they will exit the stage, they will get their headshot, and then as they walk back, so their photos from our vendor ProPics, and then they will be welcome to join families and other guests in Club C, where the grad gathering will take place. And that's actually what Abby will talk about next.
Yeah, and I just want to mention 2 things. So first of all, just for general entry to the arena for family and guests. The doors will open 1 hour prior to ceremony time. So I don't know if we've already said that, but I'm just going to reemphasize it. So if you have the 9 a.m. ceremony, the doors are going to open to the public at 8 a.m. And so on and so forth. So 1 hour prior. And that's also the time that we've instructed your graduate to arrive too. So 1 hour prior to their ceremony start time. The other thing I wanted to emphasize too, all seating is first come general admission, first come, first served seating. Tickets are not going to be required. So don't worry about having to acquire tickets. I just wanted to reemphasize that fact as well. So moving on to grad gathering. So this is a very exciting celebration that is hosted by the UK Alumni Association. They will provide directions on how to get to the area, which is called Club C, but it's very nice and welcoming. It's a really cool space. So if you, want to see this club space that has recently opened in the last year or two, that we've really gotten some good use out of, and it's a really good space to have a celebration and to kind of see kind of the VIP areas of Rupp Arena. But we will be having that grad gathering there immediately following each ceremony. So as your grad walks across stage, they'll be directed to go to the grad gathering. It is on the first floor ground level of the Central Bank Center. So if you want to make your way from the concourse down, there'll be signage to get you there. And we'll be directing graduates that direction in general as well. They'll have refreshments, they'll have gifts for the graduates and photo opportunities, and just a really fun celebration that everyone is welcome to. Samantha Seitz is who the contact will be for this event. So her email is shared here in case you do have any specific questions about that grad gathering. But they are great partners with Commencement and obviously want to share in the celebration with everyone. So feel free to put that on your calendar to attend and stop by and get some free stuff and free food and refreshments and things like that, and do that celebration.
So I'm sure we have, as parents or family members, or maybe even graduates who have joined this call, I'm sure there are lots of questions still on your mind that are lingering. Some of these things that you see on this page we've covered, and some we have not. But we'll run through each one of these just to make sure that we're very clear on the expectation here. So first, as Abby mentioned, do guests need tickets? No, it's general admission. There's no cost. You don't have to have tickets. Bring as many family members or as few family members as you wish. Seating, again, is general admission. Is there a bag policy? There is a bag policy. Patrons may only have one clear bag with the size that you see here, or one small clutch purse with or without a handle or strap for personal items. This is a Rupp Arena policy. This is not a University of Kentucky policy. So on our FAQ page, we have linked the policy to their website. So if you have any questions about what to expect as guests in their space, we want to make sure that we abide by the rules that they set, which is consistent for all events that they host there. So if you have questions about that, you can reference the link on our FAQ page. Will the ceremony be live streamed? Yes. We will post a link on the homepage of commencement.uky.edu the morning of commencement, and it will be playing throughout the day. It'll take you to a YouTube link. So if you have family members who cannot attend or maybe don't want to make the trip out, but still want to see their family member or friend walk across the stage, they can go to commencement.uky.edu and the link will be there and they'll be able to see the whole ceremony. And I believe that the ASL interpreter will also be on that YouTube page. So if you have folks that have that need at home, that will be available to them as well. We are going to hope that this question doesn't matter because it won't rain, but in case that it does, you may bring an umbrella into Rupp Arena. So don't worry about that. If it rains, you can bring that in. So graduates, what order are they going to walk in? This is a common question that we get. Graduates will be seated and walk across the stage with their respective college. So if they are a part of the College of Agriculture, they're going to sit with the College of Agriculture. If they're part of the College of Engineering, they will sit with the College of Engineering. And then within each college, they will be organized by doctoral student, graduate student, undergraduate student, and that is how they will process onto the stage when receiving their diploma or being hooded. So we talked a little bit about accommodations, but we'll review them again. There is closed captioning. ASL interpreter will have one at every ceremony, and there are accommodated seating and parking options. There's ADA accessible parking at each of the spots that we recommend folks park, and then seating is also available. So if you have any other questions, please visit commencement.uky.edu. We have an FAQ page there, and I even have it broken down into general questions, questions for family or guests, and then questions for graduates. So it's a little easier to navigate. If there is a question that you cannot find on that page, feel free to send me an email. That's the best way to contact me. And that email is commencement@uky.edu. If you don't get a response within 12 hours, do not fear. I get 300 emails a day during this time of year, but I will get back to you. So just be patient. But feel free to send me those questions because I want to make sure that you feel really comfortable on this special day, trying to navigate all this craziness that we have going on during the exciting time. So I think last, we'll take any questions that may have popped up in the chat or questions that we have remaining from family or friends.
Yes, thank you for all that good information. We do have some questions that have come in. Some of them have already been addressed, but for folks who maybe didn't join us at the beginning of the presentation, we can cover some of those again. One question that came in is about a professional video available for purchase. There was also a question related to that about the live stream, which you've already addressed. But is the ceremony or each ceremony videoed and available for future purchase?
So it wouldn't be available for purchase, but with the live stream link, it is recorded on YouTube and it'll be available until the end of YouTube. So it'll be there. You can see previous ceremonies. If you really want to know what to expect and get some spoilers, you can go back and view previous semesters, graduation ceremonies. I like to keep it a surprise, but if you really got curious and wanted to know what to expect, there's YouTube videos that are available from previous semesters. So that will be there. You're welcome to view that, share that link and everything. And then with our photography vendor with ProPics, they'll take some professional photographs, not only of your student walking up towards the stage, walking across the stage, and then a headshot afterwards. We do work with the vendor who has kind of given us a trial run of a video clip. So not of the entire ceremony, but just of your student walking across and kind of, inserting that clip into like a promo type video. So we hope to be able to share those out, and hopefully we get a lot of inquiries about those that we are able to share. Once they compile all that data together, they can identify the students and then make sure to send it out to them so that they can share those with their families as well.
Could you speak a little bit more to the professional photos in the vendor, how they communicate? I'm assuming they communicate with the graduates, although it's likely the families who want to place the photo order. I know you all likely get a lot of questions after each ceremony about the photos, or is there anything that we can tell them in advance about that?
Yeah. So the professional photos. So if your student attended Grad Salute, which was the graduation vendor fair, they may have already gotten their photo taken, which kind of starts their student account on the ProPics website. If they haven't, that's okay. What happens is they'll take the photos. The vendor is ProPics. They're based out of Indiana, but they have had a really good experience here, and they will take photos. And then what happens is the order that they walk across stage, the photography will track which student came, after which student, and then they will be able to share the link to those photos within 48 hours of the ceremony directly to the student's email in their graduate profile. So the student will be contacted directly for this. So make sure to ask your student, get with your student, and make sure that they share that link with you. As soon as you have that link, you can log in and see their database of pictures and then make purchases of those professional photos from there. It'll all be in their accounts to view and make those purchases and share with any family members that are interested in purchasing those. Tyler, anything else you want to mention there?
No, ProPix does a really great job of communicating with graduates. So usually if you send me an email afterwards, we know sometimes students don't check their emails, but ask them. They probably got those emails. But if you send me an email, usually I have an auto response on mine, and it will send a link to where you can locate those photos if your student doesn't have theirs. And I think you just type in their last name and ceremony time, or first and last name and ceremony time. So there are multiple ways. If you don't get those emails, just reach out. But within 48 hours, you should receive those photos for purchase.
I know you all have said that you're still in the process of determining what order each college will be called in for each ceremony, but can you also speak to how students line up within their college, or how families can figure out what section of Rupp Arena they need to be sitting in to get the best view of their student in their particular college?
Yep, that's a great question too. So once the student goes through like check-in, once they arrive at Rupp Arena, they will make their way down to the Rupp Arena floor, and the college marshals will help them get seated there. So there'll be designated rows and sections for each college. Those will be identified. We'll have college flags on the floor, so you'll look for the college flag. In addition to that, we will, once we have them mapped, we will be able to share that information on the website as well. And you'll be able to see like which sections you should sit on, or like one way or the other. So the students walk from the right side, if you're looking at the stage, from the right side of the stage to the left side of the stage. So, if you want to see them walking up towards the stage or walking off the stage, you can choose, which side based on that information. Or if you wanted to be seated closer to like which side of the floor your student's sitting on, you can do that as well. All the graduates are seated on the floor, and the families and guests will be on the like lower and upper bowl of the arena. So, and then like Tyler said, the students will leave afterwards, and it also creates an opportunity if you wanted to move closer down once some seats free up, you can do that as well. But we will share those maps once they're finalized, which will include like the order of walking as well. Those will just be linked on our website too, so make sure to check back in the next couple weeks for that, a little bit closer to the ceremony.
I know some of our colleges have their own events and activities prior to graduation. Do you recommend that folks reach out directly to the colleges, or have their students connect with their undergraduate college, or is there information about that on the commencement website as well?
There is not information on that website, on our website. I usually, so the colleges should be communicating any special ceremonies or particular events for the college that is separate from this. We invite all colleges to participate, and they choose if they want to participate or not. But if they have a separate convocation, I think is what they call it, then those will be separate, and I recommend reaching out to the graduate's either academic advisor or the dean's office to get more information. And actually, what I do in some cases when folks are having trouble finding information, I will just Google like UKY College of Nursing, and a lot of times they'll have information on their own website about their convocation ceremony.
So we've got a question asking about suggested attire, particularly for guys. What do folks normally wear under their cap and gown?
Well, I have seen it all.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
I've seen, of course, you can't really see much except the feet. I've seen tennis shoes. I haven't seen like scuba flippers or anything like that. But so I always say, you're going to be with your family for that day. It's sort of a special event. So dress how you would like to, but usually it's a little more maybe business casual. A lot of times families will do photos afterwards with and without regalia on. So just consider that. I would say wear comfortable shoes. You're not going to be standing a super long time, but guys, if you just have like nice slacks and nice comfortable dress shoes, or it's really your preference. And then for the ladies or whoever chooses to wear heels their ceremony, I've seen that all too. I've seen the little flats and the little kitten heels, and then I've seen stilettos, and I'm like, I don't know how you do it, but your choice. So whatever the graduate is comfortable in is what I recommend.
Yeah, that's all really good advice. And I agree. I've seen a little bit of everything, but I think it's nice to remember that there will be a lot of photos taken that day, and those photos will likely be framed and displayed and shared broadly by all the proud families. So make sure that, that you dress with that in mind. I think we've addressed most of the questions, but we got one more. If you all could clarify, getting back to the order that that students are in, asking if the students go in alphabetical order, or how families know when their students will be coming up on stage.
Great question. So again, it will be, they'll be sorted by college, and usually we start from the right side of the arena and then move, if you're looking at the stage, right side and then left side, and then it'll go doctoral, graduate, undergraduate. Within each of those degree types, it's not in alphabetical order. So it is wherever your student chooses to sit. I know I like to kind of sit in the middle, so I get to experience a little bit of the ceremony and see my friends walk across. But I don't usually want to be last. So it's kind of wherever your student chooses to sit. A lot of times we'll see text messages or hands waving up in the stands. So you can locate your student that way.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Just, give yourself enough time to get there a little bit early. And then that way you can, identify where your student's seated and, communicate back and forth. I'm in, halfway back on the right side and kind of wave at each other to identify like where they're seated. And then once we start pulling students to walk across, they'll just kind of go row by row. So you can kind of identify like where they are in that order once they start pulling students. The other thing, during the ceremony, they'll call each college. So you'll want to just be listening for when they introduce, the College of Arts and Sciences. That's when they'll start that college, and then they'll do a transition to the next college. And so once you can, listen for that college to be announced, that's a good indicator too that you need to start paying attention extra to look for your student.
And one last thing to add to that, when students or graduates are walking across the stage, the camera will be on them. So even if you are a little further back, you'll probably have a really good view of the screens, and it will show your student's name, and then it will show their degree and major as part of that too. So you can, if you want to get a snapshot of the screen, that'll be available too.
Yeah, in my experience, I think students like not being in alphabetical order, because that way they can sit with their friends, folks they've been in classes with. And so they get a lot of photos, as they're waiting for the ceremonies to begin, which is a lot of fun. And then just as another point of clarification, students will depart, Rupp Arena from the stage there to get those important photos done and to go on to grad gathering, and we'll meet up with families at grad gathering. I know sometimes in the past I've had families say, well, as family members get up and leave after their students are called, isn't that disruptive to others? But we have done it this way for several years, and I have not, families have worried ahead of time, but I haven't necessarily heard any worries after the fact. So if you could maybe speak to that decision about how students exit and then meet up with families afterwards.
Yeah, I think the feedback from that flow of things has been overall very positive. I think it gives the graduate opportunity to be recognized, as well as the flow of people as they exit kind of, helps in a lot of different ways. But I think the students like to be able to leave, after they walk across, and then, the processional at the beginning, being able to find their friends and sit with their friends within their college, like that flexibility piece of it. So for a lot of different reasons, we've continued that process post-COVID, honestly. So I think it's been very positive overall. So yeah.
All right. Well, I think we have addressed all the questions that have come in live. We certainly will continue to monitor the comments and ask or answer questions as they come in after the fact for folks who weren't able to join us live. But just to reiterate, if you have general commencement questions, would encourage you to check the commencement website or reach out to the commencement team via email. If you have questions that pertain to anything about UK not related to commencement, you're always welcome to email parents@uky.edu, and a member of our team will follow up and get you the information that you're seeking. But Abby and Tyler, I really appreciate you being here and the hard work that you have put in along with the rest of the commencement committee to help our students and our university celebrate this important milestone. For folks who want to share this with others who weren't able to join live, we will leave this recording up on the Parent and Family Engagement Facebook page, and we will also upload it to our YouTube channel this week so that you can either revisit what you've seen, watch it from the beginning if you didn't join us at the start, or if you want to share it with others. I will also mention that Parent and Family Engagement will be participating in grad gathering after each ceremony, and encourage you to stop by the table and pick up a Proud of My UK Graduate button. Those are always very popular, and we are excited to share again with families and with our graduates in celebrating this special occasion. Abby, Tyler, any final tips or anything that you would add before we in the live chat?
Just come ready to celebrate. I mean, it's going to be a great, fantastic, like well-deserved day of celebration. So we're very excited about it.
Yeah, this is an exciting time of year. I know I've been through this once before. I'm going to go through it next year again for myself. And this is always just a huge milestone, a huge accomplishment. And I know that each and every one of you are proud of your graduates. So we look forward to celebrating them in just a couple weeks. Yeah,
it'll be here before we know it. We've got several people commenting, thank you, great information, feeling better about this big day. So really appreciate the information that you shared, and know that you're willing to support students and families throughout this whole process. So congratulations to all of our graduates and their families, and thanks so much for joining us today.